Well, folks, what do you think? There is my old primitive cupboard. I've got it cleaned out. I've used some paper lining on the shelves. I've filled it with my treasures, some old, some new, and I just thought I would stand in front of it while I did this little video. And it's nothing big, it's just a little chat. I have a bowl of oranges that did not get ate right away, and they're still good to eat. They're still good to eat, but I am going to go ahead and stick them in my dehydrator so that I have them in jars, and they'll probably end up in my little primitive cupboard back here. But what I'm going to do is just slice them. Like this one is a little too old for eating. I think it's starting to dry up some, and it may not even work for drying. But if you dry these, you can put them in your cup of tea in the winter. You can make decorations. Sliced oranges dried with apples and little gingerbread men make a really cute country primitive decoration for the holidays. And I think that's probably what this batch of oranges will go for. I have a couple of these dehydrators, and they're a Nesco brand. They each have 4 trays, and that's all I've had. And they work fine for what I need. So I'm going to finish filling it up. I got my apples all done, and the apples that I did are just mainly for eating. And I did put the jar in my cupboard, and here I have a jar full of dried apples, as well as I had a bag left, and I'm going to bring that a little closer. And I've just left them in a bag, and I've tied some homespun ribbon on that. And these will be great winter evening snacks for Cowboy and I. But they're in my new primitive cupboard now. Years ago, I used to do a lot of little craft items. I did a lot of ornaments. I did a lot of little hands-on crafts. And it's been so many years since I've done that. And I don't know, maybe someday soon I will feel like doing that again. It's just life got so busy, and I haven't kept up with the home crafts items like I used to do. These little ends, actually, you can put in some water and boil this with maybe an apple, a cinnamon stick, maybe some spices, and just put it on the wood stove, and it's going to fill your house with those awesome smells, the holiday smells. Anyway, I'm getting really excited to start getting ready for the holidays. This big cupboard was one thing I wanted to take care of and get taken care of so that it's all set up and I can actually enjoy it for the holidays. I can decorate it. Right now I'm just doing it with fall for Thanksgiving. We have a few of the kids coming for Thanksgiving, and I wanted it to feel more like fall Thanksgiving than Christmas. So that's my plan, is to get everything up and running and ready, and I can start enjoying some bacon and freezing and just getting the home to feel like the holidays and be able to enjoy it. So tell me what some of your favorite traditions are. Let's start with Thanksgiving. Of course, we do the turkey, and usually we'll do 2 turkeys because we like leftovers, and I'll freeze it, take it off the bone, freeze it, put it in bags. So we'll normally do 2 turkeys for Thanksgiving, and also a ham. We'll do a ham. And with both my propane stove and my wood cook stove out in the porch, we managed to throw together a pretty good feed for Thanksgiving. Last year we had quite a few. We had set up 3 tables through here, and we had quite a bunch. I don't know that we'll have that many this year, but I do the homemade pies with the homemade crusts, hoping, crossing my fingers always that it turns out. And I'll make pumpkin and apple. I'll do the traditional mashed potatoes and gravy, but I make my own stuffing for the turkeys. I'll start drying my bread early, and I'll just mix up my own with onions, celery, poultry seasoning. It's just the way my mom always made it, and that's how I'll do it. Another favorite is, of course, the green bean casserole, and it's good. It's just plain good. I will do sweet potatoes, and I do it the old way that my mom used to do it. At that time when I was growing up, I don't ever remember her buying the real sweet potatoes, which I do now, fresh from the produce stand. I do that now. I like to roast those, but for the traditional little Thanksgiving sweet potatoes, I do buy the canned yams, and I'll put them in a casserole dish, which one I had just bought yesterday at the secondhand store, one of the Corral. It's going to be perfect for that. I'll put that in with some brown sugar, some butter, maybe a little cinnamon. And after it's warmed up and heated through really well, then I will sprinkle a few marshmallows on top and stick it back in the hot oven to just brown that and puff the marshmallows. So that's another tradition here. Homemade buns. When my kids were little, I used to make monkey bread, and I have not made that for a long time. It's just little pieces that you cut out and dip in butter and put into like a bundt pan and bake it that way, and then dump it out, and then you can just go ahead and pull that each piece off of your bread. But I usually lately have been just doing my homemade basic bread and making little rolls with that. So this isn't going to go very far, but I'll use these up before they go to waste. What else do we do? We just try to make it as homemade as much as possible. It always tastes better. Of course, we turn on the parades in the morning, watch the parades while we're getting everything, get the turkey in. I'll get up early and get the turkey going. I try to have all my supplies out the night before, like my big roasters. I'll have the big bowl ready with my breadcrumbs ready, with my cans of broth or my jars of homemade broth. My onions are chopped usually, my celery's already chopped, and I will just quietly get up early, get it together, and it's usually big turkeys, so they need quite a while to bake. And so I sneak up usually early and get those into the oven. If they're out in a fridge outdoors, Cowboy will run out and grab the turkeys for me. We will probably this year again put another one in our wood cook stove. That way we'll have two. Cowboy cooked one last year in our wood cook stove, and it turned out really well. But it's really nice to have that extra wood heat from the wood stove, to keep things warm, heat things up, because with one kitchen range, propane, and all the food that it takes to prepare, it's really nice to have that extra stove with the heat to keep things warm or keep it cooking. So anyway, these are just going to go in the dehydrator now, and it will take them quite a while to get good and dry. And then I'll put them in a jar. We'll probably put them over here in the pantry, the cupboard, and if I want to put them into a hot tea or even wassail, I like to make that around Christmas time, and that's always warming on the cook stove. And I have to tell a story about that. When my kids were little, I had the wood cook stove going, and we had a bunch coming for Thanksgiving. My kids were all pretty small, and we lived out in the country. Well, our neighbors had went on vacation, so they had an older gentleman coming to their farm to take care of their animals and feed for them while they were gone. And this man was a bachelor. He had a really, really long, dirty, straggly beard. It was bad, but he was a nice man. But anyway, it was blizzarding, and he did come out, and the neighbor is only like a mile away. So it was Thanksgiving Day, and he was alone, but he did come out to the neighbors to do the chores up. Well, he decided to drive on over and say hi. So I had my old wood cook stove, which you'll see in lots of videos, burning good, and on the kettle, or on the stove, is a kettle of wassail. My kids are little, they're out playing in the snow. We've got my folks coming, different ones, and that was just something that was always good to dip out of and have a little drink. And it's apple cider, pineapple juice, oranges, apples, cinnamon. It's just a real good little hot drink for everybody. And so that was nice and warm, and at that time the porch was right, or the stove was right in the porch where you came in the main door. Well, it's storming, it's pretty cold out, and this older gentleman comes in. He frosts up. He's got frost hanging clear to the bottom of his beard, and he feels that wood heat over here. Can you imagine what happened next? It happened. He steps over to that stove, and he's warming this beard up and melting that off onto that hot stove. There sat my wassail, and I was devastated. I'm like, oh my gosh, no. He had no clue what was there. He wasn't thinking. He was just trying to thaw that really thick, frosty beard out because he was cold. I didn't say a thing. By then it was too late. I couldn't say anything. I don't know if the others around me were seeing this happen, but as soon as he stepped out to leave, I picked up the wassail, dumped it. But that is one memory I have of a Thanksgiving way back when, with my old wood cook stove and wassail. So that's just a little memory. So a lot of things will be coming to mind as I'm preparing for Thanksgiving, and I'm sure I'll pop on and I'll be showing different little things that I do for the holidays. But for right now, I'm going to go ahead and get this hooked up, get it drying, and it's going to smell really good in here with these oranges dehydrating. And I'll show you these in the next video or down the road. I will show you, and have a great rest of the day. Take care. God bless. Love ya. Thanks for being here. Share it with your friends. If you think they would like following along with what I do here and what Cowboy does, click the subscribe button. Subscribe, Eva. Subscribe button, and the notification bell will come on. Go ahead and click that so that if I have a new video popping on, it will notify you. There's no cost to you at all to subscribe. But if you kind of like this kind of life and you think it's kind of fun to watch, join us. We love it.